This episode of In Rare Company is dedicated to the families of baby Raymond and baby Jasper. Thank you for being here today on In Rare Company. We got news this morning that a couple of our members of our community had sadly passed away. So we brought on a special guest this morning. Shelly Bowen is here. She's going to talk a little bit about grief in our community and about what we can do. And then after Shelly talks, I think it would be nice if we could take a moment, just a moment to pause, a moment of silence or prayer just to honor those lives of the members that we've lost. So Shelly, I'll just let you have the floor for now.
It's never easy to share the news that somebody has died in the community. And today, over the last 24 hours, we learned about two babies who passed away. And it's, as a mother who's lost two children, I know how devastating that can be. You know, there's the survivor guilt from other mothers who are thinking, my child's still alive, and you hold your child a little bit closer because he's here. And then there's the need to know information because you are afraid when your child has the same condition. You are afraid and you want to know what happened. And there's and then there's the other side where you have a mother who is selecting a casket for an infant that she was holding 24 hours ago. And, there's a lot of emotions that go along with that. And I think the thing that people wonder is, what can I say and what can I do? And the the ugly truth of it is that there's nothing that you can do. There is absolutely nothing you can do to take away this horror and this grief that a parent is going through. There's no words. There's no self-help book to get through grief. I wanted to burn every one that was sent to me because it was just made me feel like I was even getting grief wrong. And what is the stage of grief when you're feeling everything all at once, or you go back and forth? Are you some kind of bipolar griever? I mean, what's wrong with me? And so there's a lot of things that parents feel or that have expressed where, they've lost a child and they feel that, they've done everything they possibly can. And what more could they have done, even though they've done everything they can? And it's devastating. It's absolutely, there's no getting around it. But I think, first of all, is just allowing somebody to say their child's name. They took a lot of time to select that name. That name, if there's anything divine in someone's life, it's that name because it's a name that feels right for somebody you love. And so give them the opportunity to say that name, because forevermore, when that child passes away, they can never, ever, ever again speak about that child in present tense or in future tense. It's forever going to be in past tense. So giving them the opportunity to talk is important. And letting them cry. And you don't have to stop the tears because that's the sweat of the soul. Their souls are crying. So give them that time to cry. And just saying the name and letting them know that you care, I think is really important because he's in a better place is not helpful. There's no more suffering. It's not helpful. He's an angel looking over me. It's not helpful. But saying, this is wrong. There's nothing right about it. There's absolutely nothing right about walking through a graveyard, embracing a teddy bear, and selecting a plot for your child. There's nothing right about it. So, to the parents who are still here, to also say, I think it's important to see it's okay to hug your child a little closer, and the parent that has lost their child is not gonna feel bad about it. They would want you to because their child isn't here, and so they would expect you to hold them a little tighter. And it is normal to think, thank God you're safe, you know, but to have fear. So there's all kinds of emotions right now. And for us in our community to experience any death is hard, or any community that's tight knit. But to experience, to find out that two babies with Barr syndrome have died, and just thinking it didn't have to be this way. What can we do moving forward? And this is a community that's highly engaged right now and mobilized, and we're working with the Mito Action Group and UMDF, and doing everything we can together to help one another, because it isn't right. So I don't know what more to say except support the family. Um, I had a friend who, when my son passed away, she literally walked around with soup until I said I would eat it, because I wasn't eating anything. And she said, I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to be your human table, and I'm just going to follow you with soup until you just eat something. And, and of course I ate it just to do it, but I needed nourishment. So, I mean, she didn't say anything. It was just, she was just there. Um, you know, so just be there. I think that's all you can do, is just be there.
Thank you, Shelley, for your wisdom. I think I've been meaning to make a super cut of this, but every episode we talk about you. You are a really important person in this community. You offer so much guidance. And I just really appreciate you coming on and speaking about this, because I don't think any of us could have done it better. So well, we just want to take a moment to pause, and if we want to say a prayer for the babies that have passed and their families, we can do that, or just take a moment of silence. But we'll just take just a minute here. All right, thank you. All right, so like Shelley said, we're so excited to have Ashley, to have you on here today. Just knowing that as a mitochondrial community, we are really engaged in advocacy right now, and have been really looking forward to talking with you. I've found your post a while ago on Facebook about your daughter, and so yeah, I mean, me, Caroline, and Haley, who's not here because she's at a fabulous wedding in Portugal. Um, we started this podcast just because, we all kind of got together around this advocacy journey and wanted to have a space to talk to other families who have rare kids. And so I've been eyeing you for a while. So I'm so excited we finally get to talk to you. So yeah, I just wanted to hear about your daughter, about y'all's story, about the mito condition she has. We're in rare company here, so tell us all the things. You've got the floor.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me. So my daughter Aubrey is 7. She was diagnosed when she was 2.5. But she actually started with symptoms around 11 months. And when she had a very high fever, and um, before that point, she was developing, she crawled, she was pulling to a stand, she was doing all of the normal milestones. And then at 11 months, she had a really high fever. And during that fever, she had a lot of eye crossing, and she was having trouble sitting. And when she was already sitting at this point, and we didn't know what was happening. We took her to the doctors at first because they would take us faster. And so they took us right away, but then they sent us to the ER. And then by the time we got to the ER, her fever started to come down, and she kind of started to return to normal. Her eyes weren't crossing. She wasn't falling down. And so they had originally thought that maybe she had some sort of febrile seizure. But she was completely conscious. She was still crying, putting her hands out to me. And so we really didn't have an explanation. But then this kind of kept happening every time she had a fever, every time she was sick. and she didn't walk till she was almost 2. And then finally, after, really pushing and going back to the neurologist, they finally gave us a referral to genetics. And it took almost a year from that referral to get her diagnosis. But on the genetic testing, it showed that she was a carrier of the AARS2 gene. And this, and obviously it causes mitochondrial disease. But her specific condition is a little different than Barth syndrome. It's she's diagnosed, the long name is called leukoencephalopathy with ovarian failure, which basically means white matter brain disease with ovarian failure. And but her condition can cause heart issues. And we really don't know if she will have heart issues, but so far her heart has been okay. But she has had an increase in neurological symptoms and eye symptoms, and she has like a nystagmus, and she has like exercise fatigue and so on. So they originally offered her elamipretide to help with balance and for fatigue. And so she started it about a year and a half ago. And she's been doing really well on the drug. She went from having trouble walking on Halloween to each house. She would fall down a lot. Her legs would give out. We'd carry her. And now she's walking, doing it all by herself. And recently she went for a 2-mile scooter ride by herself without any help. And so for us, she's had such a significant improvement in energy levels and balance. And so for us, that's kind of some of the things we've seen with the drug and improving with her symptoms, which I think is a little different than for the Barth syndrome patients.
Yeah, but that's really cool to hear, like how it's used in an application for her, and what you've seen her progress. Also, just have to shout out like how quickly that long, like actual name of the diagnosis rolled off your tongue. Like every time I talk to a rare parent, it's like,
yes,
how we can just like name off these like this is what it is, and like this is, and it's just like always blows my mind how we become doctors apparently.
It's interesting you say that, because I think that was one of my fears at first, like, can I say this word, right? And now it comes up as in like my autocorrect in my phone. Like the second I start typing Luco, it spells it for me. Like my phone is learning.
Yeah, it's an elamipretide. I know my dad, he still can't say it right. He's like, how do you say it again? I'm like, elamipretide. That's an easy one, Dad. Come on.
Oh my God. So you were talking, I feel like I've seen on your posts before that is she a dancer too? Does she do dance?
We have her, we had her in PT for the longest time, but we also have her in ballet, karate, and swim. And that's really to help with her energy levels, to help her core, to help her balance. But also it's a little cheaper than PT. And it's achieving the same principle.
It's fun for her, yes.
Yeah.
How long has she been on elamipretide? And I guess which doctor do y'all go to CHOP, or how did you go about getting that administered? How did the doctor know that that drug was an option for her?
Yeah, we go to CHOP. She sees Dr. Goldstein at Children's Hospital. Yeah.
Dr. Goldstein Club.
Yeah.
So we love Dr. Goldstein, and so we've been seeing her since Aubrey was diagnosed. And I'm very involved with what's going on in clinical trials and so on. So I originally asked, like, are there any clinical trials that could potentially help? And then eventually she did bring up elamipretide as a potential option. Yeah.
Nice. How long has she been on it? You might have said it. I missed it.
November 2023 was when she started.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Have you seen the longer she's been on it, like the better she's done?
Yeah, I would say that for us, at first it was hard to tell, like, is she doing better just because, she's in a stable period, or is she doing better? Like at first it was very unclear to me whether it was like the drug or if it was something else. But then it started to become more clear around like 9 months, especially around the time that it got close to Halloween again, because we went from not being able to walk at all to being able to walk and running ahead of everybody else. So that was very significant in our eyes when we started seeing her being able to go longer distances, when before that it seemed like she was going the opposite direction. It seemed like the exercise fatigue was getting worse. So for us, that was probably one of the most noticeable first symptoms where we were like, okay, she's really doing good on this drug.
Tell me the name of her syndrome again.
Yeah, it's called leukoencephalopathy or leukodystrophy with ovarian failure.
What was your abbreviation that you said though? Wasn't it AA?
Yeah, that's the gene name. So the gene name is AARS2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone call it that? Or I guess the gene you wouldn't call it. Like I wouldn't call hopes HCCS. So like
Yeah.
I was wondering if there's like an abbreviation.
Yeah, it really depends, but I think AARS2 is easier for some people to say than the long name. So a lot of people do say AARS2 related mitochondrial disease. When Aubrey was diagnosed, I started a nonprofit with another mom for 19 genes that end in the letters ARS. They all affect the same part of the body, or the same pathway in the body, I should say. And we're raising money for research for those genes.
So tell us about your foundation. Like when did it start and how did y'all get the idea, and kind of what is the big thing you're working towards right now? I have a foundation that we started that was inspired by hope, where we build inclusive playgrounds for kids with disabilities in our community.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm a little in the know of like nonprofits, and I love the nonprofit space. And I think what's so unique about the rare disease community is like I see so many awesome motivated people that like their child has inspired them to want to start a nonprofit and do something good. I mean, and look at what Shelly has done with Barth as one of the founding members. So it's really cool. So yeah, tell us about your nonprofit.
Yeah, so I think I think a lot of us, when we sit in the doctor's office and we get this diagnosis where they say, there's not much we can do, there's no treatment, just enjoy your time with your child, is basically what we got. And for me, I actually work in drug trials in my real job. And
Good.
I just wasn't willing to accept that, I guess, as our path forward. I felt like there was something we could do. So I met another mom, and she kind of had the same passion as me. She lives in California. I live in New Jersey. And we started a nonprofit together.
That is awesome.
And we started reaching out to researchers to see, like, can these genes be studied together? Do they have to be studied separately? Because they are ultra rare, and we wanted, how many people can we actually help by doing this? And we wanted to help as many people as we possibly could. So we decided to tackle 19 genes instead of one gene. And then we got kind of a consensus that it could be studied together. And then we started down the path of becoming a nonprofit. But I will say, before I started this nonprofit, I had no experience in nonprofit. But the other mom that I started with, she also had another nonprofit to help families pay for the mito cocktail. And so she had a little bit of an idea of like what to file, all of the things around the business part of starting a nonprofit. And so she brought in more of the business and I brought in more of the science. And then it kind of was a good match.
That is awesome. Y'all are a good partnership.
Yeah.
That is interesting too, the mito cocktail. So my daughter Hope is on the mito cocktail, and we have attacked insurance every which way, trying to get it covered in some form or fashion. And we have yet to be successful with that. So that's really good that she's able to help kids through funding of that. Cause I know that drug is expensive.
It is.
What is it? I was like, wait, we're not on that. What does that mean?
You got to get on the mito cocktail. Call Dr. Goldstein.
Yeah. We have a mito cocktail as well through Dr. Goldstein, so you should ask her. But Aubrey's is like 17 supplements, some high number, but it's compounded together. It is not covered by insurance. Agree that it should be, but it's not. And so she's been on that for a long time as well. She takes it twice a day, and then she also has the shot every day.
Hope does hers twice a day, and ours is They actually just were able to reduce the price by giving us a larger bottle, and then we're supplementing like with a dissolvable tablet too. But it ends up being about, I want to say it's like about $600 a month.
It's very
So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, we've tried to get it compounded in Georgia. We've tried to run it through 2 different kinds of insurance, and we've been unsuccessful every way we've tried.
So I will say, Madison, that CHOP does partner with a pharmacy called Summit Pharmacy, and they will compound it. And I think I think because of the contract that they have, and maybe it's a little bit cheaper. It's still expensive, but it's a little bit cheaper. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So where are you all in terms of research and treatment
Yeah.
options?
We have several research projects ongoing. So we have a drug repurposing project with CHOP, with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We have a biomarker project with Children's Hospital in Colorado. We are launching a patient registry through a grant we got through NORD. We've worked closely with a lot of mito docs around the world that specialize in these conditions. And we have a biannual symposium. We recently won the CZI grant, which is the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative grant. And
Nice.
yeah, so it's 800,000 over 5 years, and it's used to build the nonprofit rather than going directly towards research. So we can hire staff. We can do a lot of we're like right now we're redoing our website. So we're able to do a lot more with that funding as well. We've raised about $500,000 in dollars for research. And we're continuing to look for new projects. We're also trying to put together a more like a strategic plan for future projects currently at the moment.
Are y'all funding like your $500,000 that you've raised for research? Is that all through grants, or have y'all gone to like businesses and other, places and asked for money?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fundraising, just like word of mouth between family, friends, other patients' families. And that's the majority of it. We have a yearly run. We have a yearly golf tournament, and we've had sponsors through those as well that have helped with those events along the way. But those are our two major events. And then we also have a lot of like online fundraising.
Tell me the name of your nonprofit. I think I missed that.
It's called Cure ARS. It's all one word. And our website is curears.org.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
How do you, I mean, that's so impressive to me, like going down the research and the medical side with a nonprofit. Like, I mean, we just build playgrounds, and that's so simple. I feel like whenever
No, but that's
start
important.
talking about finding medicine to help children and applying for grants, like for research and medicine, that's really impressive. So good work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say
No.
it's hard because I do have a full-time job, and so does my co-founder, but it's kind of our passion right now for the kids, right? For our kids and for other kids affected.
How many kids are affected?
That was my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the golden question. When my daughter was first diagnosed, I was told for her specific gene that she was one of 25 in the world, but I've already found over 80 myself. And so the estimates we're getting now are much higher, like probably closer to 500 per gene, and there's 19 genes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is her particular gene, does it have to do with like the nuclear like mitochondria, or just the mitochondria in general, or how's that all work?
It's nuclear. And like for my daughter's specific gene, there's two distinct phenotypes, or, versions or types of the disease. Like hers is more of the brain, but there is another phenotype for the heart, which is cardiomyopathy. So she does see a cardiologist once a year. So that might be part of how she got into the compassionate use as well. But there are definitely different presentations of the disease within the genes.
Yeah. So is y'all are followed by cardiology just because there's a chance that could develop one day. But for now, she's got a clean bill of health with her heart.
Yeah, so she sees a cardiologist once a year, but right now it's been clean, like,
Good,
good scans. Yeah.
good, good.
So the other question I had for you, Ashley, just in terms of like your thoughts, like reactions regarding the, recent information we've gotten about elamipretide and the FDA denial.
Yeah, it's very surprising to me, to be honest, because I work in drug trials in my everyday job, and I feel like here we've proven that the drug is safe. We've proven that it's effective. That is what you're supposed to prove when you have a clinical trial. So my confused, I'm confused. I'm confused why they would deny it, but also it's very heartbreaking because you have kids, not just my daughter, that are benefiting and adults benefiting that, and now you're going to take them off of the drug for what reason? If you know that it's helping them, why are we not approving it? And it's really upsetting to see. For my daughter in particular, I've seen her go from, again, not being able to walk very far, struggling a lot with her balance and, keeping up with her friends at school. And then now she can walk far, she's keeping up, she's playing longer, she has energy to enjoy life. It has improved her quality of life so much. And to think about it getting taken away for her, and for her to go the other direction and lose what she's gained is very hard to think about, and it's very upsetting. And it's not just her, because I see everyone's posts with these babies and kids that have heart issues, that have gone from being in the hospital to being able to be home with their families. How can you take that away?
Yeah, and I'm curious, like with you working in clinical trials, like that's your profession. Have you seen this with other drugs like that you've come across, or do you even really see like the intel of that? Like to speak to
Yeah.
that a little bit.
I mean, I've seen drugs get denied where, I know there was like one study I was working on where all the studies were in a country outside of the United States, and that drug got denied because they wanted more data from patients in the US, which that one made a little more sense to me. This though doesn't make sense to me. It just, for me, there's no good explanation for why this isn't approved. So yes and no. I've seen drugs get denied, yes, but usually for a true reason.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about like what have y'all done in your state that you feel like has been successful from an advocacy front? Um, because I heard Shelley kind of mention that y'all had worked together on some stuff. So yeah, share that if you can, what y'all have done on your advocacy journey for elamipretide approval.
Yeah, so I think for us, what we've done is really just get the word out there and spread the information, because I feel like you can't get anyone to care about something they don't know exists, right? You have to make them know it exists for people to care. And so I think the most important thing is awareness. For any campaign is just making people aware that this is a problem, this exists, we need support. And I think from my point of view, that is what I see is the most helpful.
Yeah, yeah. That's you like all the things you're saying. I'm like, Ashley, this is a straight up gold mine. Like this is such a good, like everything you're saying. I'm like, I'm gonna be editing this and just like making little shorts of literally everything you're saying, because it's all this, like you said, it's all the stuff we're all thinking about too. Like we're confused, we don't get it, like it doesn't make sense. As parents, we're terrified. Like you said, we don't want to see our kids go backwards, and that is what's on the line for us, and for adults taking it who experience it in a way that it's different from the parent perspective, but to have something that is effective in your own body and that you're experiencing, it's just all of it is, it's not right, and the FDA needs to make it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think at this point it's more dangerous to not approve the drug, because now you're actually affecting the lives and the quality of life of all the patients that are on it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, April, let's hop over to you because we would love to hear your perspective on all of this and your experience. Yeah, so if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, about your diagnosis, when you found out, and we'll let you just have the floor for a minute to tell us about you.
I first started getting daily symptoms in 2008 and started the Odyssey. Took me until 2013, so 5 years, to get a good diagnosis. You know, it's very hard as an adult because, of course, mitochondrial disease is, you know, considered pediatric disease, and so it just wasn't on the radar of the doctors I saw. You know, it was more they're looking. Oh, I mean, you know, they just threw me down the autoimmune route, like rheumatologist, you know, and finally, about 4 years in, I think, I realized this has to be genetic because I realized my dad started getting sick when he was 30. His father was very sick, like the entire time I knew him. And then my dad's sister was sick, and then my brother was starting to get symptoms too. So I'm like, this has to be a genetic thing. So I went to my primary care physician and told him I want to see a geneticist. And he denied me. He's like, no, I think it's just allergies and blah, blah, blah. So I just called the genetics doctor's office myself. Like I went out in the car and I called her and I was like, here's all my symptoms. Here's all the things. I think I have a genetic disease. Can you please see me? And she did. And then, you know, from there, I ultimately got the mitochondrial disease diagnosis. Just clinically at first. We did some exome testing and couldn't find my gene. Finally, after, I mean, it was just a few years ago. So after like 8 years diagnosed, they did a full genome on me and finally found the error that it is in complex 4 of the Krebs cycle. And
That's
yeah,
like
so
the journey you've been on. That's insane. And I keep hearing
it was
this,
such a journey.
like,
So much stress. It's like left me, you know, permanently kind of altered in my brain. Like it gave me PTSD because it was so stressful for 5 years to watch your body decline and no doctor could tell you why. You know, it was extremely scary and stressful.
What were your symptoms that you had started to experience in 2008 that made you, you know, think something's not right here?
The big things were the first real bad day I remember was vertigo. And then it was just vertigo that lasted for like 2 days straight. It wouldn't stop.
Oh, that's miserable.
So I had been having heart palpitations, which they misdiagnosed before as something else. And a lot of neuropathy stuff. I kept feeling like ants and bugs were just crawling all over my skin. Everything felt weird. Muscle weakness. I had started to notice some muscle weakness and just not feeling well. Just lots of headaches and getting sick all the time. Just not a good immune system and stuff like that. Yeah. So then after I got the clinical diagnosis, I would say I improved for about 4 years because I got the mito cocktail, you know, learned about the illness, changed some things with my lifestyle and like just tried to do everything I could, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really good. But by 2018, just didn't matter anymore what diet stuff I did, what lifestyle stuff, it didn't matter. I had all the supplements, everything, and health just started just crashing. So it was year after year of just decline. By 2020, of course, I caught COVID. It nearly wiped me out. I think that almost killed me. Like I was so sick. We had a 2-story house and I got stuck upstairs for 3 days. I couldn't make it down the stairs.
Wow.
And my breathing like was really bad. My oxygen dropped to like 90 and it was really scary. I think honestly, I probably caught COVID a few times between like 2020 and 2021. So then my breathing was just awful. I was in like stage 2 respiratory failure. And if it got even a tiny bit worse, they said like it was like 4% worse than I would get approved for a ventilator. So that's how bad it was. It was just profound muscle weakness. I had to use a walker and a wheelchair like in my house to get around, power wheelchair if I wanted to do any distance walking, like walking my dog or, you know, even to get into medical appointments, like from the parking lot. And my heart, I had started to get heart failure, like the ejection fraction thing, like just the muscle was weakening. So it was bad. I was homebound for about 5 years. I couldn't drive anymore. I was too unsteady between just balance stuff, cognitive issues, fatigue, just, yeah. And
Oh my
then
God.
finally by 2022, I learned that the elamipretide was going back into phase 3 trials, and it gave me some hope. I'm like, okay, maybe, maybe I can do this. And so I applied for the trial, got denied for the actual trial, but then we applied for expanded access and I got approved for that. And yeah, I got my first shot in November of 2023. I'll never forget that day, my whole life.
Wow.
And for
Wow.
me, it was instant. Like they say this is so uncommon, but I felt a difference within an hour. And I was like, oh
Wow.
God, I must be like giving myself placebo effect, right? But then day 2, the next shot, I'm like, nope, I feel something. I feel a little better. Day 3, I'm like, I feel a bit better. Day 4, day 5, and it just, for me, it was just like I just took off like a rocket. Like it did the one thing that was broken in my body, start fixing the
Wow.
mitochondria. I had learned how to do all the other like life health supportive stuff, diet and exercise and lifestyle stuff. And yeah, so it's just been profound for me. But I will say, I moved from Florida to Cincinnati last December, and somehow between my moving and whatever things got misaligned, and I ran out of the drug for 2 weeks, and it did not take more than, it was like 3 days, and I already had all kinds of symptoms coming back. And by the end of it wasn't quite 2 weeks, actually, it was like 12 days or something, but by the end of the 12 days, like my breathing had like regressed, just everything. Like I was in bad shape really fast. Um,
Wow.
so it's my feeling that, and I've known a couple other people that said this too, they were in the trial for a certain period of time and then is not on the medicine now for whatever reason. And they said not only did they get as bad as they were before they started the drug, but they also declined. So from my understanding is, even though we're taking the drug every single day, it's still acting sort of like a band-aid. Like it's healing our body, but only for like that 24-hour period. And like the disease will still progress. As soon as you stop the medicine, you're not only going to go back to where you were a year before you started the medicine, you're going to be a year further declined. This is what really terrifies me about people losing the medicine, because you look at my situation, I was already that close to needing a ventilator. So if I lost the meds now, who knows? My breathing could be so bad it would be beyond ventilator, and it could happen so fast. The symptoms can progress so fast when you lose the medicine. And of course, makes me really concerned for all the children that already were in like heart failure and stuff. Like, yeah, the FDA just has no clue what absolute chaos and crisis they will cause to so many people.
Yep. Whenever your heart was declining and in heart failure, so do you have cardiomyopathy? Did they end up diagnosing your heart condition when you were having the palpitations?
So part of my heart issue was arrhythmias. It was PVCs, preventricular contractions. So years ago, I had to have a cardiac ablation to fix that. So the first part of the heart stuff was just the nervous system not working right. And then later on, it was the muscle itself, weakening. So it just wasn't pumping blood as efficiently. So
What did your ejection fraction get down to?
I don't remember exactly. I think it was like 50 or 55 or something. It was mild. It was like, basically like stage 1 of like your heart starting to fail.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't super severe, but yeah, but now my recent checkup was like, great, like fine, everything's fine, heart's fine. And my breathing is now back in normal limits. I'm not even close to respiratory failure anymore. So I'm at the very low, like there's a range. I'm at the very, very low end, but I made it into like the normal range now. So
That's awesome.
it's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, this drug was a miracle. Like someone else on the call just said, I mean, I had no quality of life. I had caregivers coming in to help me make food and do dishes and laundry. I couldn't even take care of myself. And, woke up every day feeling horrible, spent the whole day feeling horrible, went to bed to wake up again feeling like it was just, this is no way to live, And now I like my life again. I actually want to live again. So, it gave me quality of life and the joy back in life. I moved, I bought a house. I take care of my own house now, completely independent, take care of my own dog, my own cat. I make friends. Like I can't go out a lot, but for short things, a couple hours here and there, like I have a
Yeah,
plan tonight to go on a date, like is amazing. It's
that's awesome.
I have a life again. So
That is awesome. What's been your favorite thing that you've enjoyed doing once you've started feeling better after getting on elamipretide?
like I don't know that I could choose one thing. Mostly just getting out of the house, I guess. I'm a super extroverted person, and so it just was killing me. The depression was so bad because I just couldn't socialize enough. So
Mhm.
really probably the opportunity to date again. I dated we separated unfortunately, but for 18 months, and her and I just had like the most amazing adventures. Like we went on vacations and we went out to dinners and we went to parks and we went to museums, and like I just freaking lived it up. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ashley, I've seen you unmute a couple times. It looks like you're about to say something, but did you want to add?
I just wanted to say it's interesting to hear your perspective because, like, for my daughter, she's like, sometimes it's hard for kids to be vocal about how they're feeling. And it was interesting that you said that you started to feel the differences right away. For us, we just waited to kind of clinically see how she was doing. Is she improving? But it was hard to understand how she was feeling. I enjoyed hearing about how you felt after taking it because that gives a different perspective.
Cool. Yeah,
I
I'm sure it's
agree.
hard for you guys with, young ones. They can't really express that. So
Yeah.
for me, my hardest hit system is my nervous system. So I had just a ton of cognitive issues and my eyes. So like I would try to even say be on TikTok and like stroll through some videos, just like 5 minutes, I'd be so fatigued I'd have to put it down and just rest. And that was the first thing I noticed after the first day of the shot when I went to take my normal nap that I had to take every single day. And I was like doing some stuff on my phone. I was like, I don't I don't feel fatigued yet. Like I can still do a little more. And that was the first thing I noticed. Just more brain energy, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and it's so nice to hear both of you talk about the difference, just different conditions, right? Like, so on this call right now, all four of us have, either children or experience different types of mitochondrial dysfunction. And the fact that L-mipretide is so impactful in all of those, that to me, it's also like, I don't know what the FDA is doing here because this drug could have so many applications. If
Yeah.
we can just get this approved, then we have the opportunity for more people to try it and more people to take it. And there's all kinds of other mitochondrial conditions out there. And, the limit right now is the fact that you can only really be on it through expanded access or through, from being on the clinical trial. So it's just like, I don't know what the holdup is. We all have just been racking our brains about like what it is that could possibly be continuing to hold this medication up. But number one, it could be so beneficial for so many things. And number two, like you're saying, April, it's just not an option to take people off of it at this point because we are going to see severe declines. And we don't need to do that. Like we've already lived that and we would like to move forward, not backwards.
Yeah, yeah. It's like mitochondrial disease is the umbrella term for all the mitochondrial things, and I feel like this medicine is the umbrella medicine. Like eventually, more targeted treatments will be developed for each one of our different things, but for now, this is the one thing that can help mostly all mitochondrial situations. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, and
it's
to hear you
insane.
say,
I was in shock, literal shock when I heard it didn't get approved. I'm just
yeah,
after you experience what I experienced, like it literally gave me back like 50% more health than I had before or something or more. Like it's just astounding.
well, and this is why it's so important for us to hear y'all's voices about this because I think that's one of the things that people are just not, maybe it's not clicking or something is not connecting here because, it's obviously had a huge impact on a lot of people's lives. And, you know, I think maybe they're getting stuck up on whatever was in the clinical trials and the 6-minute walk test or the sample size or whatnot. But like beyond that, like so many people have seen so many huge impacts on it that, Gilbert, he's not represented in that data. Hope is not represented in that data. Aubrey probably is not represented. No, because she wasn't in the clinical trials. April, you weren't either. Like our stories are not represented in that data because we came after those trials. And so, and it's not always, it's not just one thing, right? Like for Gilbert, we saw within a week of being on elamipretide, he was starting to be able to eat bottles on his own. Like he had an NG tube placed like a couple days before he started elamipretide because his weight gain was just so terrible. I mean, he was 0.2 percentile for weight. Within a week, he was able to eat his start eating better, and then he got that NG tube out within a month. And then we went home a month after that, and he
Nice.
breastfeeds now. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's just, so I feel like ejection fraction is an important indicator, but it's not everything, right? You can have all these other indicators of your mitochondria being supported.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and it's frustrating they're not looking at the other data that we have from all the expanded access people, because I know the
Mhm.
company's keeping track. They make me do an evaluation every 3 months. So I'm like,
Mhm.
where's that? Why don't we look at that too? So as like supporting evidence, but I don't
Yeah.
know, it's frustrating. But I know we're all like we're raising a little storm over here. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm hopeful.
we are. That
We've
is
got about 5 minutes left. But so Ashley, I wanted to just jump over. Was there something else you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say, I thought it was interesting when you said about the nap, because my daughter used to nap every day. And we were worried that she wouldn't make it through a full day of school. And at first she didn't, until we pushed the school to add in another snack. And then she started making it through. But one of the biggest things is she was napping every day, and she had a medical stroller because she couldn't walk very far. We haven't needed the stroller. She's not napping anymore, and she's doing really well. So I just thought that was really interesting, and I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, that was one of the
Yeah.
best changes because it was so frustrating. I'm an adult. Like
Mhm.
I work. Like
Yeah.
it was so frustrating to have to like up 3 o'clock, like down for whatever. Some days it'd be maybe 30 minutes. Sometimes it'd have to be like an hour and a half. And
Yeah.
yeah, just really tough. I'm like, I'm not an old lady, or a
Mhm.
baby. Like, yeah.
Right.
So I haven't napped in forever now.
And I
So it's
felt the
great.
same because I wanted her to be a kid. I wanted her to be able to run around and not have to spend because she was taking long naps, like 3 hours a day, not spend
Oof.
3 hours a day napping. And so
Yeah.
it was a big difference for us.
Mhm.
I pray the right things happen. We all get to keep this.
I
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I think this conversation has just been really eye-opening. I think in terms of the fact that, like, hearing both of your experiences and just the impact that elamipretide has had, and that what's really at stake for us as a community, which the stakes are very high. And I think we all are feeling that collective kind of fear and terror and devastation. I mean, um, I think we're trying our best to mobilize and to build awareness and to get media attention, to get legislative action happening, talking to our leadership. But yeah, it is scary. So we're, hopefully we get the right decision soon because, as you said, April, like it's, you know, we just, you explained what happens when you're off of the drug. And I think that really clarifies a lot for everyone on this call.
Mhm.